What's going on, guys? Brother Russia here. We're back with another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. And today we're going to take on Boss Rush stage number 19 that actually just dropped over here on the JP version during the 9th year anniversary. So obviously, as a lot of people know, Boss Rush is kind of it's kind of free almost. It's just basically just running a bunch of Dokkan events with I mean, I guess there's not really any kind of like difficulty with them, considering they're just Dokkan events that we've done before. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a Super Saiyan team just so we can kind of like blow through this entire stage pretty quickly. So we'll bring the Super Saiyan trio as our leaders because they are like the fastest killing units that are out there right now. So we'll bring them. We'll bring the new Broly, and we'll bring the new Gogeta. We'll bring the Trunks and future Gohan, and you know, why don't we just bring Spirit Bomb Goku. So we're obviously not going to need any items or anything like that. We can probably just set this on auto. Oh, I guess we can't really set it on auto because we haven't completed it yet. But we got Boss Rush back here, and again, it's pretty much just like a free and easy event for most people, especially like during anniversary. It actually is pretty nice that they do this because you do end up getting, you know, a good amount of free stones just from completing all the levels. And I mean, there's only what, 5 fights, I think, is it what it is, and a lot of them are like older Dokkan Fest events as well. So there's not really any kind of like difficulty to them. You know what I mean? Like we're fighting what, full power Frieza that dropped what, 3 years ago now, something like that. Yeah, I think it was almost like 2.5 years ago. So there's really not any kind of like difficulty when it comes to Boss Rush. Not like it used to be back in the day. I mean, if you're a like veteran player and you remember way back in the day, we did actually have a little bit of we had a really nice Boss Rush. It was the second one, where we actually had like, I think it was like 10 fights or like 15 fights, something like that. It was a bunch of fights actually, and they actually made it back then. It was actually pretty tough. I think we had a couple of like the 120 leaders out at the time. It was like right before, I want to say it was like right before Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and the Omega Shenron dropped, the infamous to be released category units. I think it was like right around that, right before then is when the event had dropped. So trying to come up with teams back then was a little bit more difficult because there were no category teams. So you were essentially running like mono teams. And back then, trying to run a lot of the mono teams, they just did not have very good units on it, man. I remember running like, what was it? I think it was like Super AGL. Or no, it was AGL Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta was my leader. And then I brought like the family Kamehameha, like Super Saiyan Gohan, like the AGL one. I brought, who else did I bring? Man, trying to remember this far back. The ROF Vegeta Blue. He was on the team. I think we also had the ROF Blue Goku back then. Who else did we have? I want to say, I think I had AGL Vegito as well. So I had him on the team. So that's 4. Who else did I have back then? I know one of the other units was actually Super Saiyan Rose, the AGL one. He was actually on the team because he was getting a slight buff because, you know, the Vegeta does give It was 3 key and I think 50%, I think is what it was, to extreme class units. So he was still getting a little bit of a boost. It wasn't a great boost, but it was a little bit of a boost. So, I mean, and I can't remember who my last unit was, man. Like, I'm trying to think that far back. It was probably like one of the Super Saiyan Gokus or something like that. But yeah, trying to like beat that event back in the day, I mean, it was kind of hard. Because I remember I was always losing to the Super Saiyan 4, or no, it wasn't around the time that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta came out, because I remember having to try to beat, I had to try to beat his event, and I kept losing to him. Like, his event was always tough, I kept losing to him, and it kept making me mad. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of a little bit of a like backstory for how long I've been playing the game. So if you weren't around for like Boss Rush 2, then I don't think you would understand how difficult Boss Rush actually was back in the day. But now, I mean, nowadays Dokkan events are, you know, essentially nothing really too special. You know, you just kind of run through the event, you'll awaken the units, and then you'll just use the units, you know, you'll use the units as you see freely after that. But back in the day, that was the content that we had, was Dokkan events. That was our hard content. You know, a new unit would come out and you're like, oh, we got a new Dokkan event. You know, time to see how difficult this one's gonna be. It ain't like that no more. Now it's, hey, we got this like super hard red zone stage where this enemy's doing this, and this. So unfortunately, it's just not how it was, you know, back in the day. But I think it's more of the nostalgia thing more than anything. The way, I mean, Dokkan today is a million times better than Dokkan in, you know, year 1, year 2. I think probably one of the worst things that Dokkan ever implemented and had in the game for a very long time was the hidden potential system of one node at a time. You literally had to click one node, hit accept, wait for it to do the animation, go back, do it again for the second node, go back, do it again for the next node, and you had to do that until you like rainbowed a unit. So imagine you just sitting there for like 20 minutes just trying to rainbow a unit just because you could only do it one node at a time. I tell you, it was probably like, it's probably the worst thing that Dokkan ever decided they wanted to do. But looking back at it now, I mean, it's kind of funny how times have changed. You guys are spoiled now with your all button. We didn't have that back in the day. So yeah, actually I just pulled it up. So stage 2 for Boss Rush 2 was actually 14. Yeah, it was 14 stages. And no, it wasn't, so Gogeta actually wasn't in here. The one that I kept losing to was actually Tech Zamasu. That's what I kept losing to. Like, I'd get almost all the way to the end, and because he's the second to last fight, and then I would always lose to him because I brought a full AGL team. And him being Tech, obviously, he just wiped my team clean, man. It was rough back in the day. It definitely wasn't as, it was, I guess the game itself was fun back in the day, but trying to like the difficulty of the events back then compared to now obviously is two completely different times. But you know, like I said, the Dokkan events back then were the red zone stages of today, especially like when the STR Dokkan Fest Broly dropped. Like, he was just an animal all on himself. Like, you would have thought he was a red zone stage, you know, in today's meta, because of how hard he hit and everything else. But I mean, nowadays you can run through that event with your eyes closed with a free-to-play team of like of a whole lot of nothings almost. You know what I mean? So, that's a little trip down memory lane. But back to old Boss Rush 19 over here. There was actually a little error that they had. For some odd reason, they had actually put the new Super Saiyan 3 STR Goku's Dokkan event in here instead of this physical one. And it was just on accident. They probably just put the wrong coding in there and just called for the wrong stage. But it was kind of funny. I mean, they did patch it relatively quick, and there wasn't really like much compensation or anything for it, and didn't change like the difficulty of the event or anything. So, but there you guys go. Just a real quick, easy event, and you know, just a quick trip down memory lane. I don't think you guys will struggle with this event at all. I mean, you can bring whatever team you want and just, you know, not even really pay attention, and you'll be able to clear it with no issues. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, consider hitting that like button, and if you're new here, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.